Hello everyone. Hello. Welcome back for another episode of I Am Sat. I am your host, Maddie Quinney, and yeah, this is the third episode. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back. If you have been here already, if it's your first time, buckle up. It's a wild ride. She's a wild ride. We're back with the handheld mic today because there's something about it that's giving like Sacrament Sunday vibes, like giving primary class vibes. If you grew up Mormon, you know, if you know, but I am here for it. It's giving main character. So, and I'm the only one here today. So here we are with the handheld mic. How are you all, huh? I want to know everything. I have been good. I'm recording this before any of the episodes air. So things have been crazy trying to get this all buckled up and ready to go. I mean, I'm an ADHD queen, and you know what? I like to have fun. So sometimes this whole situation kind of just feels like a job, and aspects of it are not fun. The funnest part of all of this is sitting my ass down here and recording, pressing record. That is the funnest part of this whole thing. Everything else can suck my dick. Just kidding. No, but really, I have just been procrastinating so much, but I'm here, and you know what? We are committing to being consistent. We're committing to this whole thing, this whole bit. So we're going to see where this goes. 2026, we are committing, and we're going to see where it goes. So yeah. First things first, if you listened last week and the week before, I'm on a ramen journey. What does that mean, you ask? It means this. It means I'm trying to quit eating ramen 4 times a week. It's been hard. There's something about me. I go through phases where I fixate on certain types of food. About a year ago exactly, I was eating steak probably like 5 times a week. No joke. I mean, it's an expensive habit for sure. But like, I swear to God, that's all that sounded good to me. And I was eating steak 5 times a week. It was crazy. On top of that, also exactly about a year ago, I got really fixated on this type of bone broth. I think the brand is called Bare Bones. It's the beef bone broth. I would drink that once or twice a day, every day. I literally think that lasted at least 3 months. So right now we're in our top ramen journey, and I was actually at work this week, and I was in a meeting, and as we were getting started, we were like, oh, how's your weekend? Blah, blah, what'd you do? You know, and I tried this new spot in Salt Lake City called Mencho. It's a ramen place. And on Instagram, they said it was Michelin star. I honestly believe it. It was so good. If you are in the Salt Lake area, or if you want to try this place out, like 10 out of 10 recommend. It's actually not that expensive too. I mean, if you've been to like a ramen restaurant, you're probably paying at least $18 for your bowl. It was like $25 for a bowl of ramen, and it's farm to table. So shit was amazing. Shit was good. Shit was hella good. I fully recommend. It was delicious. So anyway, I was telling my coworker, I said, hey, I went to Mencho. Have you been? And he said, oh my God, best place ever. He's from California. He was like, I've never had a better ramen experience in my life. And I was like, no, literally same. And then he starts talking about Top Ramen. And he tells me that he was on Instagram the other day, and he saw a reel of someone who eats Top Ramen like multiple times a week. And he decided to go get his stomach checked out because he was backed up and couldn't, go number 2. And so they put a tiny camera down his stomach to see what the fuck was going on. And lo and behold, we discovered that your body cannot properly digest Top Ramen noodles. And when he told me that, I said, oh, is this like my call to Jesus? Is this like is this my wake up call? I said it. I think it is. My heart actually went out of my ass and I said, please excuse me for a moment. That was a really hard pill to swallow. And I was like, okay, this is the final straw for me. This is the final straw. So, you can bet your bottom dollar. I have not had, any Top Ramen in like a week, and I plan to keep it that way for probably the indefinite future, because that freaks me out. That's giving worm. It's giving parasite. I don't know what it's giving, but I don't want any of it. I don't want it in my line of sight at all. So I will not be eating Top Ramen anymore for the foreseeable future. I will keep you all updated on how that goes, because sometimes mama needs her comfort food. Sometimes sometimes you just got to eat something, and all that sounds good sometimes is a hot steaming bowl of Top Ramen and watching The Real Housewives of New York City. That is like, when I experienced that, eating Top Ramen while watching The Real Housewives of New York City, that's what I would imagine a motherly hug to feel like. Because God knows, I don't know what that feels like. Oh God, we won't get into that. Maybe someday, but I don't know what that feels like. So a bowl of Top Ramen and The Real Houses of New York City is as close as I'm going to get to that. So we're going to try to find other ways to replace that. Maybe I'll keep going to therapy. Maybe I'll unpack that with my therapist, because what the fuck is that sentence? I don't think that's ever been said before, in fact. So let me know if you've said that before, I guess. In other news, I am really trying to do a pull-up, like a chin-up, and also a pull-up. I did not realize that there was a difference until recently. I've been going to the gym with my friend Courtney every Tuesday, sometimes multiple times a week. I've been really into my gym era, which I know sounds cringy, but I highly recommend weightlifting and just like getting stronger, especially as a woman. I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's really good for my hormones. I feel way more balanced. I just had the first luteal phase of my life where I didn't feel fucking crazy. And I haven't really been changing my eating habits, obviously. And I feel pretty good. I was feeling pretty fucking stable, actually, which is very new for me. So I've been loving going to the gym. And let me tell you something. If you think you can do a pull-up, you probably cannot. Just kidding. No, I'm just weak as fuck. I have no back strength, I've realized, and I've come to learn. And I have no upper arm strength, which I've also come to learn. And that shit's hard. We've been going at it for, God, I think it's like been a month and a half or so. And today, actually, I went to the gym and I got about halfway up on my pull-up, which is a big deal, because a pull-up, that is where I don't even know how to like say it. You're grabbing the bars overhand, not underhand, and you're really like lifting with your upper back muscles, I would say, and like your shoulder muscles. A chin up is where you're grabbing the bar underhand and you're using your like biceps to like get your chin up a little bit. Oh, cool. I just saw that my card is full on my camcorder. So yeah, I guess we're not. I guess this isn't airing to YouTube. Okay, anyway, whatever. By divine design, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Oh, God. Here we go. Anyway, there's a difference. And the pull-up, where you're going overhand, way fucking harder than a chin-up, in my opinion, in my personal opinion. I could barely even, hold myself up, really. But today, I got halfway up, and then on my chin-up, I almost got to the very top. So progress is progress, and that's that. It feels really good, honestly. I'll say it. It felt really, really good, and I highly recommend doing it. No matter who you are, it's a really fun way to measure your progress and how strong you're getting. If you're consistently at it at the gym or whatever, it's really rewarding. There's something primal about being able to from hanging pull yourself up to the very top. I don't know. It feels very primal. Also, another thing that we've been doing is we start every gym session with a hang. And by that, I mean in the pull-up position and then the chin-up position, we time ourselves on to see how long we can just hang there. Way harder than you would think. Way harder than you would think. And it's actually been like also really rewarding because, you know, you tend to hang for longer and longer every time you do it. And again, very primal. I don't know. It's giving monkey and I kind of am here for it. And I really feel like we should go back to our roots anyway. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going back to my roots. And honestly, the bulk of this episode is going to be about getting back to our roots. So I guess stay tuned. Also, in other news, I just got a brick. If you know what that is, I don't know. Maybe you do. It's basically a device that locks you out of your phone or like locks you out of certain apps on your phone. And for me, I chose Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok because my ass is like, if I am looking for a fix, I'm on Reels, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook Marketplace. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy. And especially at night, I will black the fuck out and just like doom scroll. And then all of a sudden it's like 1:30 a.m. and I have to get up at 7:30 in the morning and I'm hating myself. So that's been really lovely. I highly, highly recommend. They are, if you have an HSA or an FSA, they are eligible for that. That's how I bought mine. So yeah, definitely get on that if you are interested. It has changed my life genuinely. I feel like, and also too, like when you brick your phone, it'll have like a pop-up on your phone for the whole day or while you're bricked, and it'll give you a running time of how long you've been bricked. And it's kind of like a fun game to play because I'll be like, oh, I've been bricked for... Also, I've been saying bricked up. I've been saying that to Spencer. I've been like, hey, babe, like I've been bricked up for like 6 hours. Or I'll be like, oh, sorry, you can't do that. I'm bricked up. And he laughs every time. And I'm like, yeah, this is like a funny way of saying it. And then eventually he said, Mads, do you know what bricked up means? And I said, no, I thought I just like came up with that. It means you have a boner. So I'll still be saying that because honestly, that's pretty damn funny. So yeah, I'll be bricked up for like 6 hours and I say, oh, I could go for more. And it's like a fun game to see how long I can go for. And then it also challenges me. I mean, there's like a plus and a minus to this situation because on one hand, I am more intentionally using social media. So when I'm out and about and I'm, you know, taking pictures or filming like a video for TikTok or something like that, I, you know, will use the time that I'm not bricked up to post all that shit if I want to. And then the idea is that, you know, I'll brick up my phone again and, you know, go on my merry way. However, on the flip side, I've noticed that when my phone is not bricked, I'm out here doom scrolling like crazy. I'm like, okay, this is the time I get to have social media. So I like binge and I like go crazy. So we're trying to have moderation. We're trying to be a little bit better about that. And I'm trying to be bricked up all the fucking time. So I'll keep you updated on that journey as well. But I've been loving it. Again, like it's been bringing me back to my roots. And yeah, so it's been lovely. It's been grounding. Another thought that I had is, hey, if you're listening to this and you're stressed out at your job or you fucking hate your job, take a day off. Take a day off. In this day and age, well, I wonder how long America has been like this, probably since the dawn of time. But I feel like it's always the culture to never take a day off. Or if you take a day off, you need to feel guilty about it and stress out about it because you're letting people down and blah, blah, blah. Bitch, shit's gonna be crazy whether you're there or you're not. So just take a goddamn day off. It's gonna be fine. Like, That's something I've learned. Yeah, like, especially if you're in the corporate world and the service industry, actually any industry really. But I feel like it is so shameful to take a day off from work. Bitch, take the fucking day off. Your job will be there when you get back. It'll be fine. Just fucking do it. That's something I've been really feeling lately because corporate America has been slithering its way into every area of my job and my life, and it was getting a little too much for me. And I said, I'm taking a PTO day. And, you know, honestly, like, I really feel for the people who do not have PTO or do not have enough of PTO or whatever, because that shit sucks. Honestly, for me, it was a big reason why I did not take a day off for a while, because I did not have any paid time off. And I can't really afford to take unpaid time off. So my heart's really going out to the service industry people or anyone who works like part-time or does not have that luxury. I hear you and I see you, and that fucking sucks. And I just hate that. I hate that. I honestly, like, it's so unfair. It's so unfair. And I guess that's the whole moral of the story is corporate America can suck my ass. And I don't know what the answer is, but girl, if you are freaking out, like, take the day off, even if you aren't going to get paid. Like, trust that the universe has got you and it'll all be okay. I don't know. That's probably really, like, tone deaf of me to say, or like really unfair of me to say, but I don't know. I just feel like we are all out here really, like, trying to make a living, and it's a lot, and our jobs control our lives, and sometimes it's okay and it's worth it to just take a moment and regroup, because it's hard to be fully applied. It's hard to enjoy your job. It's hard to find the silver lining in your job when you're fucking burned out, and not just burned out of like the job itself, but burned out of just the culture of your job. Like, that shit is real. So yeah, if you can swing it, just take the fucking day off. Okay. All right. So I'm going to be starting a few little segments starting now. For 2026, I really want to learn French. I mean, I won't learn the whole language. That's for goddamn sure. But me and Spencer, we are trying to go to France in August, September. And I really want to learn enough to get by, because I don't want to be the dumbass American that's like showing up in France being like, hey, can I get a croissant? Can I get a baguette? Like, literally, I don't want to be that girl. So I want to pay my dues and be respectful and show up to their country, having done the work to try to assimilate and try to like immerse myself in the culture. So I really want to learn enough French to get by. So I'm going to start a little segment. I'm going to be learning it offline as well, but every week I'm going to come in with a phrase, or just like maybe a few phrases of French that I've learned, and maybe you can learn a thing or two with me. I don't know. I'm starting off fresh. We don't know shit. I know like je m'appelle. I think that's like my name is. And I know like s'il vous plaît, which is please, I think. And obviously we have like bonjour, au revoir. I can't say that ever. I need to like actually get educated. Au revoir. I can't say that fast. Au revoir. Don't ask me ever to say that. I'll just say goodbye. No, you know what? I'll just like blow a kiss. That's all. To the people in France. And give them a little like heart with my hands. You know, they'll get the message, right? Like, they know what that is. Okay, so this week we are doing just like the basics, okay? So these are greetings and basic politeness. So let's see. Okay, ça va is how are you? Ça va? How are you? Ça va? How are you? This is, okay, do you speak English? Parlez-vous anglais? Oh my God, I just want to speak Spanish. That's like the only other language I sort of know. Parlez-vous anglais? Wait. Parlez-vous anglais? Parlez-vous anglais? Parlez-vous anglais? Do you speak English? And then I don't understand is je ne comprends pas. Oh God. Je ne comprends pas. Je ne comprends pas. All right. There we go. So, do you speak English? Parlez-vous anglais? And I do not understand. Je ne comprends pas. Hell yeah. Let's fucking go. We're learning French in 2026. Let's fucking go. Okay, so there's that. I also want to start, actually, I think I did this last week, a banger of the week. Every week I'm going to have a little banger to send you off with your week, no matter what time or what day of the week or whenever you're listening to this. Just, it's a banger. Okay. It's a little food for thought, like a little, wasn't this fucking kind of dope? Like, yeah. So this is coming from The Humans by Matt Haig or Haig. I don't know how to pronounce it actually, but whatever. I think last week I talked about this book. It is, for anyone who needs a refresher, it's a book about an alien who inhabits the body of a mathematician on Earth who is on the brink of breaking the code basically for interdimensional travel. I think last week I said it was time travel. It's not time travel. It's just space travel. And the alien species is worried about it because they're like, humans are crazy. Like they're going to destroy everything. And they are just violent species. Like we need to stop this. So this alien inhabits the brain and body of this mathematician and basically tries to destroy all evidence of this equation or this code being broken, right? So, the book is about being human, truthfully. And honestly, I do want to start a book club on this thing. I feel like maybe once every 3 months we could do like a book, like a read and a book club and like an episode where maybe everyone writes in their thoughts about the book that we read, and then I can debrief it on the podcast. And so yeah, anyway, I would love to do this book. So if any of you listening are interested in this book, I would love to break this book down. I know I said it last week too, but I'm committed. Like this is the book. So come probably end of March, I would say, I will be doing an episode, like recording an episode at the end of March. So if you're listening and you want to be in on it, like get started, girl. Like read this book. It's a really fast read. If you have a Kindle, I probably click it like 3 times and then it advances 1%. So it's a really quick read. It's also a very easy read. The voice in this book is like really entertaining, and this book is just so good. So if you are interested, get started now, and then I will post it on the Instagram with all of the comments and all of the things that you guys want to say about it. I will read it here. I would love to do like a voice memo thing too. So if you want to send me a voice memo, I don't care. But I Am Sat Podcast, if you want to get in on that on Instagram, please do. So without further ado, I want to read this quote that I highlighted. That's what starts to happen. When you know it's possible for you to feel pain you have no control over, you become vulnerable, because the possibility of pain is where love stems from. And that, for me, was very bad news indeed. So just as a little backstory, the alien comes from an existence of not feeling pain at all. So yeah, basically the sentiment of this quote was that, this line, because the possibility of pain is where love stems from. I loved that line. I was actually talking to a friend about this recently, about love, and how we all assume that like the opposite of love is hate, but like some say that the opposite of love is indifference. And you know what? I really do believe in that. And this like quote kind of backs that up. Like, I think the opposite of love is pain, or like wherever love comes, pain is vulnerable, or you're vulnerable to pain in that same space, because to love something is to be all invested into just, pour yourself into it. And at that point, like you have stock in this thing that you love, or this person that you love, which means there is a vulnerability there of it being lost, and then you having to grieve. And grieving is hard. Grieving is painful. And like, if you feel indifferent towards something, the risk of it being lost is actually like, it wouldn't matter to you, right? But when you love something, or even like, when you love something, there's a risk of it being lost, and that is a risk because you love it, Anyway, I don't know if that makes sense, but I guess like to expand on my thought too about like the opposite of love is indifference. It's like, I just think that's so true. And when you're like going through a breakup or whatever, like, I guess the goal is indifference and not hate, because if you hate something, you still have like connection to it somehow, but like with indifference, you no longer have connection to it. I guess to expand on that thought too, I think it's okay if you never reach indifference. It's just painful, but that's okay if you never reach indifference. But I think the important part is to reach acceptance in the grieving process. So if you're going through a breakup or whatever you're going through right now, literally anything, it does not have to be a breakup, but if you feel like you're grieving in some way, I feel like the goal is acceptance. However, I feel like grieving is crazy, because you might have moments of acceptance, but those don't last forever. And I feel like grieving is constantly an ever-changing experience, and it kind of just like never goes away until you can reach indifference. But that's fucking hard. So anyway, being a human is crazy. It involves all the feels, and truly, if this book sounds at all interesting to you, you should read it. I think everyone should read it. It has like, I'll save it for the book report or the book club episode, but it's just a good fucking book, and everyone should listen to it or read it. Sorry. Moving on. Okay, so the last little segment that I want to incorporate in every episode of mine is a local business of the week. This kind of ties into the rest of the episode, but I've been really, really passionate about supporting local businesses recently, just because it's finally clicked with me how important that is in supporting your community. Like, it is. If you're shopping, and I don't want this to come off as shameful, I'm just processing how I feel about it. But if you're shopping at like Amazon or Target or, Walmart, all of these big corporations, they are selling convenience to you, but that's it. That is all. When you shop local, it's a bit more inconvenient. However, the price you pay, in my opinion, is so worth it, because for me, I've been really like this Christmas season shopping local pretty much everywhere for all of my gifts. And that was like a goal for me. I said, I do not want to go to a single big company. I did have to go to Barnes & Noble because I went to like 3 local bookstores and they didn't have the book that I wanted. In fact, it was this book that I was talking about, The Humans. And so I had to go to Barnes & Noble for it. But I guess to me, it was better to go there than to order it on Amazon. So, whatever. You pick your poison in this economy. But I did a really good job. And in my ventures, I have developed like relationships with local store owners. This isn't the one that I was going to shout out, but I'll shout it out also. It's called Central Book Exchange. It's in Sugar House. and it's a used and new bookstore, but it is like the cutest vibe. And the worker that's there every time I go, like they recognize me now. And I don't know, it's just like developing that sense of community and knowing that you are giving back to like a small business is so rewarding. Not only that, but when you're shopping local and you're really on the hunt for something and you're only shopping local, like when you find that thing, it means so much more to you than to just like click a button on Amazon and it's here. Like there's like a totally different attachment to the item that you're buying or you're looking for when you are shopping local, especially when you are face to face with the local store owner or the employee that is heavily benefiting from your purchase. It is just a totally different experience. So that is this new segment is Local Biz of the Week. And this week I'm shouting out The Village. It's an antique store also in Sugar House. It's actually right next door to Central Book Exchange. And I shopped for literally all of my Christmas decorations there this year, and it was so much fun. They have the coolest shit, and the way the store is organized too is like so fun. They have little like areas and pockets of just like different types of vendors and types of trinkets and whatever you have it is a really rad shop. And then in the very back they have like a clothes section. Anyway, it's so cool. And one of the times that I've been there recently, I go like literally once a week, and again it's like the same people working and we start recognizing each other, and I like it's so fun to like ask questions and get to know what like their life looks like. So I asked them, I was like, so where do you get all this stuff? And they were saying that they have like a bunch of local vendors, but then they also go to estate sales and, you know, gather their product there or whatever. And then it led to a conversation about how they spend way more money than they earn at this shop. And I was like, damn, that's actually kind of crazy. And they're like, yeah, but we love it. And so we're here every day. We're like, the passion's here, but yeah, we don't make a thing off of this place. And it just got me thinking, like, we need to support our local businesses. Like it's little mom and pop shops like that who really have the art and the passion and the vision that are going out of business because of places like Amazon, you know, like, I don't know. But, and it's crazy to me because everything that I got from that store, I could not find on Amazon. There is no way I could find that on Amazon. Maybe eBay, but like not Amazon, not Target. And it's really rewarding to like curate a bunch of shit and know that like no one else probably has any of these things, you know? I don't know. It's just, it's like I said, it's a different connection to these items and a different connection to the vibe that you're curating and everything, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm really passionate about it. So if that resonates with you, please support your local businesses. And I know it's inconvenient. I know it is, but guess what? It is so rewarding. And like, it literally feels like an addiction at this point, because now when I have an idea of like an item or a trinket that I want to get, I'm like on the hunt on like strictly shopping local to find it, you know? And it's also cool because I feel like I've been getting to know Salt Lake City a lot more through this like local shop type kick I'm on. I have been getting to know Salt Lake City so much more, and it's so cool to like get to know who is running these businesses and like seeing the face to the name and seeing what your city's doing, you know? Like, I feel like I'm way more in the know about what type of vibe Salt Lake City has, and I'm just so passionate about it, and it's made me love where I live. I genuinely, you guys, like, I never thought I would ever say this, ever. Like, I've always been kind of a hater of Utah because, like, when I grew up here, when I moved here in high school, I had a really rough experience. I did not like it at all. And, I mean, you have to consider that I did move to Salem, Utah from Denver, Colorado. So that was a big jump, big adjustment. And if I think I might have mentioned this before, but like just infiltrating a group of Utah teenagers who all grew up with each other is just a lot, you know? And so I've always kind of been a hater of Utah. And then I like went to UVU, lived in Provo, did that whole thing, spent the majority of my 20s in Utah County. And then when in my mid 20s, I moved up to Salt Lake City to Sugar House. And I don't know, I loved it so much more, but I've always been kind of like out to hate Utah because I just was like, you know, phasing out of Mormonism, and I was like, fuck Mormons, like fuck this whole thing, you know, like I'm over it, you know. Now being like on this local business kick and being in Salt Lake City too, I think it's like so different because it's, oh God, if you live here, you know that like every single city in Utah is so different from the next, so different. And like the east side of I-15 is so different than the west side of I-15. Like it's all so different. But Salt Lake City specifically, I just have grown to love it. I love it here. Like, and the mountains are stunning. Like we are so lucky, and God, I really love it here. And like just getting to know the local businesses, and like when I see a new one pop up, there's one I really want to go to. It's called the Sound Bar. It's a new bar in Salt Lake City that is like a coffee shop by day but bar by night. And basically their whole thing is that it's kind of like a jukebox style bar, except that they have a crazy collection of records. So you go and like pick a record and you can play it, and you can just kind of like see what they have and grab a cocktail or a coffee depending on the time of day. It's shit like that I see pop up. I'm like, I need to go be a part of this. I want to like contribute to this. I want to support this because we need this. We need art. We need passion. And I feel like specifically in Utah, we've been so deprived of that for the entirety of its existence since the pioneers crossed the plains. Like, you know, I'm sure it was thriving before, you know, because whatever. But like since the pioneers settled here, we've been deprived of art. It's been just all like cookie cutter Mormon shit. It's been just like, you know, the same shit over and over again. And I feel like we're finally seeing art and passion come to life in the city. And it is such a cool thing to be a part of and to witness and go support. Like, oh my God, I just fucking love it. So anyway, I could go on and on about that. And honestly, that like really is a good segue to what I really wanted to talk about in this episode is community. I really wanted to talk about community today. I need a water break because your girl's been at it. She's spitting. She's talking. Okay, I feel better. Okay, so today we're talking about community. And I think about this a lot, especially as I get really involved with my community here in Salt Lake and get involved with local businesses. And when, you know, I feel like I really am kind of like, I don't know, I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but I do feel like because I am shopping local and I'm meeting new people and I'm saying yes to things and I'm showing up, you know, I feel like I do have my finger on the pulse of like what's going on in this city, and I can see it. I can see the vision. I have been thinking a lot about how we've been lacking community in America, I think, as a whole. And depending on where you live, that may not be true, right? Like for New York City, for instance, oh God, I don't get me started on New York City. I fucking love that place. But one of the things that I love about New York City is like community is woven into actually everything. Unless you are like rich as fuck or whatever and have a driver, like you are a part of the community every day as you walk the streets of New York, as you take the subway in and out of the city or around the city. Like you are constantly around the people who live in New York City, and you are a part of it and involved all the time. If you live somewhere like Utah, that is not the case. Our system is not set up for convenient public transportation. We were bred to live in our cars, and to be in our single family homes. I think about this a lot too, like especially in Utah. If you have money, odds are you probably have a theater room in your home. You probably have a gym in your home. You probably also have like a basketball court in your backyard or a pickleball court. Like the more money you get here when you live here, it seems to me the further away you get from the community, because everything you have is readily available at home. And then, not to mention, when you're going places, you're alone in your car. And so you're not interacting with your community very often. And depending on your situation, you're probably Instacarting your groceries. You're probably not going to the grocery store, like you are. I feel like, especially here in Utah, and I don't know, I can't speak for other states in America, but I just feel like the more time goes by, it seems like the systems at B are trying to isolate all of us away from each other. And I feel like that's really dangerous. And I worry for the future of humanity, because it is so dangerous when you are not surrounded by other people that are different than you. Then you start developing your own ideas about your own reality and get like really lost in the sauce about that. And then you are further isolating yourself from actual reality. And those are the crazy people. Those are the crazy people in this world, especially if you have money. And so I just fear for that. And I think like we need to get back to our roots. Like, it is literally hardwired in our DNA to have community and to prioritize that. I haven't finished reading, but if you've heard of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. Sorry, I'm just like looking at the Wikipedia of this page and I'm just finding some interesting information. Anyway, it is, a book by Yuval Noah Harari. And it is exactly what it says it is. It's A Brief History of Humankind. And I started reading it, and it kind of starts off with just like the basics of human evolution and how we got here. And it is hardwired in our DNA to prioritize community and to lean on our tribes and our people, because that's what helps us survive. And that's what's gotten us to this point, is reliance on our communities. Actually, fun fact, I apologize if you listen to the Girls Camp podcast, she actually mentioned this on one of her recent episodes. But I promise I knew about this fact before she said it. So, I apologize. And also want to disclaim that I'm not copying her, but it is a crazy fact. Like, soon into the book, they talk about how language evolved because of the tribes of humans, or like sapiens, or whatever you want to call them. These tribes would get together, obviously do pretty much everything together. And language evolved because I don't know what you'd want to call them. I'm just going to call them sapiens, because I don't want to say monkeys. Like, I don't know what they were. And there are technical terms for these types of, these types of species, right? But like, I don't remember, and I'm not going to try to act like I do. But they would do everything together, and as a way of trying to survive and make it through, they would talk to each other and communicate to each other about like bad apples of the group, basically gossiping. And that's how like language evolved. Isn't that crazy? But it all started with community, because they didn't want a betrayer a part of their group. They didn't want a traitor a part of their group, because that did not help them survive. That did not help the greater good. Anyway, that's all to say that it's like literally hardwired in our DNA. And I feel like we're getting further and further and further away from that. And I don't think it's healthy, and I don't think it's like good for us or society. I think in order for us to like get through all the bullshit that's happening in the world right now, we need to come together again. We need to get involved. We need to do the things that feel or seem inconvenient for the sake of community and for the sake of supporting our community. Like, we really do. I also feel like, I don't know, I feel like another piece to this puzzle is COVID. We cannot talk about the lack of community without mentioning COVID and how that affected everything. I mean, if you lived through it, you know how it affected everything. I was hoping, while COVID was happening, I was hoping to see society kind of like overcorrect itself after we came out of it. And I think on one hand we did. I think on one hand we all were able to agree, like, God, seeing live music with people is so important. We never want to see a world where we can't do that again, I want to be able to go to the grocery store and like on a whim and not have to worry about whether or not I'm allowed to be in. And, there are certain things that, like, whether it was more convenient or less convenient in terms of, the way society worked when COVID was happening, it did change society. And I think, like, at this point, I think it changed. It made us realize, like, oh, so we can adapt to more individualistic tendencies. We can order our groceries to our door, and we can DoorDash everything. We can also work from home. And not that I think working from home is a bad thing, because, girl, I would die for that. I would love to work from home. But even then, my job just barely implemented full-time back in office, and I hate it. I'm a hybrid schedule apologist for the rest of my days. We need to work at home also. However, being in the office is also important. We need to have that face-to-face, and I think it's so good for morale. It's so good to see other people. Like, I don't know. I get that, like, a lot of people are introverts or whatever, but, like, at the end of the day, having a fulfilling conversation with someone you trust and you love, or to, like, have a fulfilling experience and to feel that connection is priceless. And, like, you cannot get that anywhere else. You cannot. And again, it's like literally hardwired in our DNA to prioritize and value that. But I think, like, our society is teaching us that, like, we don't need that. And it scares me, because I think the people who benefit from that the most are, like, large corporations. And, like, I don't know, for me, it's like an active protest to be like, no, I'm actually going to lean into my community. I'm going to support local businesses. I'm going to show up to local bands, performances. I'm going to do what I can, because we need this. We need to band together and feel like we have a say and we have a way of doing things, no matter who is in charge of all of this, right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's really important. And I just feel like in 2026, it's the year we get back to our roots. It's the year that we have fulfilling community again. And also, I feel like it's the year to go back to physical media. Like, another thing, I just feel like when in the conversation about community, it goes hand in hand with the conversation about convenience. I feel like the more convenient something is, the more it probably most likely detaches you from a human experience and, like, interacting with other humans. And sometimes there's a time and place for that, right? Like, I'm not I don't want this to come off as if I'm shaming anyone for doing this. I just think it's important to think about sometimes, like, if you, like, there is a time and place for everything. Like, girl, you know I'm DoorDashing if I'm late to work. Like, I'm DoorDashing a coffee, you bet your ass I am. Or, like, yeah, if I don't have time, if it's a fucking Saturday and I need to do a Costco run, I'm probably going to Instacart that shit, because Costco on a Saturday is a fucking shit show, and sometimes I just don't want to deal with that. So I want to be very clear, like, I don't want to shame anyone for doing any of these things. I just think there's value in being intentional about it. But yeah, and also I guess my point is, yeah, like, the intention behind convenience, I think, is really valuable in this day and age, because I actually think that, like, the more we get used to convenience, it really just pulls us away from, like, the beautiful parts of humanity, which is connection, which is, like, I don't know, there's beauty in the inconvenience. Like, in terms of, like, physical media, I love to collect records. There is, like, something so artful and beautiful about finding the record that you love and, like, putting it on and putting the needle on and just sitting back and listening to it. And then once it's done, you go and you flip it and you do it all over again, and you intentionally listen to this artist that you love and the album that you love from cover to cover. And it's like, it's such a beautiful experience. But, like, I feel like things like Spotify or Apple Music, like, again, there's a time and place for everything, but I think that the intention behind it is really important. Like, the physical media of it all, yeah, it's a little bit more inconvenient to stop what you're doing and go flip the record, but, like, it also is, like, kind of beautiful and artful, and it has a ritual to it, you know? I don't know, I just think it's, like, it's kind of beautiful. It's all about, like, what did I say earlier today? About, like, going and shopping local, and how, like, when you shop local and there is a bit of inconvenience to finding the specific thing you want because you have to go to multiple stores or whatever. When you find that thing becomes actually way more valuable to you than it would have been if you just clicked buy now on Amazon. I think the same thing goes for, like, physical media. When you are on the hunt for a specific record or a CD or whatever, or, like, the art of flipping the record, changing the CD, whatever it is, the thing itself, that CD, that record, the whole act of it all becomes that much more valuable. And I think that it's just important to think about. I don't know. That's just me, I guess. I just have, like, one more food for thought about this subject. But I think, like, I was also thinking about how the whole keeping up with the Joneses culture is also something that's, like, pulling us away from community, because instead of fostering reliance on your community, we're fostering competitiveness. And I think that's really harmful, because it just doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And, like, the competitive nature between people and society to keep up with the Joneses, it's just, like, it's pulling people further and further away from reality, and further away from, like, what really actually matters, which is, like, fulfilling connection with people. Like, the way I don't know, I just, like, if you're only relying on yourself to, like, be better than the next person, then you are depriving yourself from the beautiful opportunity to actually, like, rely on your community to help uplift you and to lift your community up also. Like, that is such a beautiful experience, and it almost makes me sad for people who are wrapped up in the keeping up with the Joneses of it all. And honestly, we all fall victim to it. I mean, how many times a day do you get on Instagram and see an ad of an influencer that you love? Like, this just happened to me, actually, like, a couple of weeks ago. I follow Mata Graviat on Instagram, and I love her. I love her content. Like, I love her down. I honestly, like, she's a no skip for me. And she posted an ad about this, like, towel wrap for your hair. And immediately I was convinced that I needed it because she had it. And I want hair like her, you know? The towel wrap is fucking $75 before shipping. Like, what the fuck? I don't need that. I don't need that. A cotton t-shirt will be just fine for my hair. Like, I don't need that. But, like, how many times a day do we get on Instagram and that shit happens to us, where we're convinced that we need something because someone we look up to and love has it, and so we need it too. Like, it may not be necessarily like a keeping up with the Joneses vibe, but it is the vibe of being convinced that you need something that you don't in order to keep up with something, you know? And we don't need it. we do not need it, like that shit doesn't need to happen. So anyway, I guess the moral of the story is fuck capitalism. Fuck capitalism. Fuck toxic capitalism, which is what we live, which is our reality these days. Fuck it. Like, let's come together. Like, let's find ways to protest toxic capitalism by coming together, by not buying the thing that you see on Instagram because someone you like has it. Like, let's get away from that. And like, oh my God, it like, I don't mean to, actually, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Sorry. I'm going on like too many rants, and I don't want to be too controversial or like crazy, but just the point is, let's find a little bit more intention behind things. Let's use our power of community and humanity to protest against toxic capitalism and the higher powers that be that fuck up our lives. And let's like find ways to get back to our roots in 2026. Like, and if this podcast is a good place to start, like anyone listening and anyone here is a part of that to me. And like, that is kind of my point in this podcast, is like, I really hope to foster a community of people who are like on the same page and want to come together. I want to do community events. I want to like bring people together. I want to create a space to protest this bullshit, and also just like to find happiness and fulfillment and love and light and beauty and humanity. Because like, being human is fucking awesome. It's hard and it's painful, and it's fucking awesome, and it's a wonderful experience, and we're only here for such a short amount of time. Like, let's make it worth our while, and let's fuck all the bullshit that we see online and that is going on in our day-to-day lives with politics and fucking bullshit. It's just all bullshit. So let's get back to our roots. Let's start in our circles. Let's start supporting local businesses and just being a little bit more intentional about what we're doing. So anyway, thank you for tuning in with my rant. I'm sorry that this was like kind of heated and really passionate. I honestly am like coming out of the days that I've been in for the last hour and thinking, what the fuck did I actually just talk about? But I will be editing it, listening back to this and being like, okay, Maddie, chill. Chill, calm down. But this is me. This is what I'm passionate about. This is me. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to let my light shine on me. If you know, you know. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And whenever you're listening to this, whatever day of the week it is, whatever time of day it is, I hope that you can find some joy in this week and find the silver lining somewhere. So, anyway, thank you for sitting with me, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye. See you next time.